it is a perfect geometry. A hexagon. This is not a symbol, it is a hurricane. A six-sided storm wide enough to swallow 4 Earths. The walls of this storm reach hundreds of kilometers deep into the planet's atmosphere. At the very center of the hexagon lies a massive vortex, a red spinning maw that looks like a rose made of hurricanes. It has been raging for decades, perhaps centuries. A geometric scar that never heals, staring unblinkingly into the void like a giant eye. Scientists first discovered this hexagon during the Voyager flybys in the early 1980s. They thought it might be an illusion, a trick of light and shadow, but when Cassini arrived decades later, the hexagon was still there. Perfect, unchanged. A 6-sided jet stream spinning at the speed of a Category 5 hurricane wrapped around Saturn's North Pole. The sides are each roughly 14,500 kilometers long. That is longer than the diameter of Earth. The winds inside scream at over 300 kilometers per hour. And no one knows why it is a hexagon. There is no other storm like it anywhere in the solar system. On Jupiter, storms form ovals. On Neptune, they form circles. Only on Saturn does a storm take the shape of a perfect 6-sided polygon. Scientists have tried to recreate it in computer models. They have built spinning tanks of water in laboratories. They have run thousands of simulations. And still, no one can explain why Saturn's North Pole chose a hexagon. Some believe it is caused by a deep jet stream interacting with the planet's rotation. Others think it may be a standing wave pattern, like the vibration of a drumhead. But the truth is, we do not know. The hexagon remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of our solar system. And when Saturn gets angry, the entire planet changes. Every 30 Earth years, roughly 1 Saturnian year, a monster wakes up. We call it the Great White Spot. This is a storm system so massive it wraps around the entire circumference of the planet. Imagine a thunderstorm that covers the entire Earth, flashing with lightning 10,000 times stronger than anything on our world. It churns up distinct white clouds of ammonia ice from deep within the interior, turning the golden planet into a ghost. It is a reminder that beneath those calm bands of yellow clouds, there is a chaotic engine of heat and energy waiting to explode. The Great White Spot was first observed in 1876 by an amateur astronomer named Asaph Hall. He watched in awe as a brilliant white cloud appeared on Saturn's surface and grew until it encircled the entire planet. Since then, astronomers have recorded the Great White Spot in 1903, 1933, 1960, 1990, and 2010. Each time the storm erupts in Saturn's northern hemisphere during its summer season. Each time it releases energy equivalent to millions of atomic bombs. And each time it vanishes as suddenly as it appeared, leaving behind only a faint haze. The most recent eruption in 2010 was captured in stunning detail by the Cassini spacecraft. The storm wrapped itself around the entire planet, ate its own tail, and persisted for months before finally fading away. Cassini watched as the storm churned up material from deep within Saturn's atmosphere, material that had never seen sunlight before. It was like watching a volcano erupt on a planetary scale. Saturn is the king of a massive entourage with more than 140 moons. But one of them is an imposter. Titan. Titan is the only moon in the solar system with a thick atmosphere. In fact, the air pressure here is higher than on Earth. If you stood on Titan, you would see rivers, lakes, and rain clouds. It looks startlingly like home. But do not be fooled. Titan is a twisted, toxic reflection of Earth. The rain is not water. It is liquid methane and ethane. Liquid natural gas falling from the sky in slow motion due to the low gravity. The temperature is negative 179 degrees Celsius. If you jumped into a lake on Titan, you wouldn't just freeze. You would shatter like glass. And the ground is not sand. The massive dunes of Titan are dark hydrocarbon grains. Essentially, Plastic. Static-charged plastic dunes hundreds of meters high, shifting in the alien wind. It is a world that mimics life, but is built from the ingredients of death. And yet, beneath that frozen crust, there may be a liquid water ocean, warm and possibly habitable. Titan is a world of two oceans, one of methane on top, one of water hidden below. The Huygens probe landed on Titan in 2005. It survived for only 72 minutes before its batteries died. But in those 72 minutes, it sent back images of a world that looked hauntingly familiar. Pebbles rounded by liquid flows, a horizon shrouded in orange haze, the sound of wind on another world. Titan is the most Earth-like place we have ever visited. And it is utterly alien. Further out lies a tiny bright ball of pure white ice, Enceladus. For years we thought it was just a frozen rock, but then we saw the tiger stripes, long blue fractures at the South Pole, and from these scars, it bleeds. Giant geysers of water vapor shoot hundreds of kilometers into space at supersonic speed. Saturn's gravity is kneading this tiny moon like a ball of dough, keeping its core warm. Beneath that thick frozen shell lies a global ocean of warm liquid water. It has salt. It has heat. It has organic molecules. In the deep, dark pressure of Enceladus, shielded from the vacuum of space, something might be swimming. Cassini flew directly through these plumes and tasted the ocean. It found tiny grains of silica, which on Earth only form in hydrothermal vents. It found molecular hydrogen, a possible energy source for microbes. It found salts and complex organic compounds. Every single ingredient for life as we know it exists in the ocean of Enceladus. We went to Saturn looking for gas and rock. We might leave having found neighbors. Enceladus is only 500 kilometers across. It could fit inside the state of Arizona. And yet it may hold the answer to the oldest question humanity has ever asked: are we alone? But to learn these secrets, we had to make a sacrifice. In 2017, the Cassini spacecraft, our lone messenger at Saturn, was running out of fuel. To protect the pristine moons like Enceladus from contamination, NASA made a tough choice. They ordered Cassini to commit suicide. On its final orbit, Cassini dove straight into the atmosphere of the monster it had studied for 13 years. It fought to keep its antenna pointed at Earth, transmitting data until the very last second. But Saturn showed no mercy. The heat and pressure tore the robot apart. It melted, vaporized, and became part of the planet forever. The signal from Cassini vanished at 7:55 am Eastern Time on September 15, 2017. In mission control, there were no cheers, just silence and tears. Cassini had given us everything. We asked it to give us one last thing, its own destruction. And it obeyed without hesitation. Cassini traveled nearly 8 billion kilometers over 13 years. It discovered 7 new moons. It watched a storm encircle a planet. It flew through the plumes of an alien ocean. And in the end, it died so that Enceladus and Titan could remain pure for future explorers. That is the kind of loyalty that only a machine can have. And it broke our hearts. Saturn feels eternal, but it is not. Even the rings are dying. Gravity is slowly pulling the rings down into the planet as ring rain. Every second, thousands of kilograms of ring material fall into Saturn's atmosphere. In 100 million years, a blink of an eye in cosmic time, the rings will be gone. Saturn will be just another lonely gas giant in the dark. The rings are made of 99% pure water ice, ranging from tiny dust grains to house-sized boulders. They are only about 10 meters thick in some places, yet they stretch nearly 300,000 kilometers across. They are a temporary masterpiece, a fleeting decoration that we are lucky to witness. Dinosaurs never saw the rings as we see them. In 100 million years, no human will see them either. This is our moment. This is our window. The rings are not eternal. They are not permanent. They are a passing phase in the life of a planet, a beautiful accident of gravity and debris. And we just happen to be alive at exactly the right time to see them. So look at it while you can. It is a temporary masterpiece of gravity and violence, a beautiful trap that lured us across the solar system only to show us how small we really are. Saturn is the most beautiful thing in our sky. But remember, beauty can be deadly. The hexagon spins on, indifferent to our existence, a perfect storm that outlasts empires and civilizations. We are brief visitors to this ringed world, catching a glimpse of eternity before it vanishes. And when the rings finally fade and the great white spot erupts one last time, Saturn will remain, ancient and alone, a silent witness to a universe that never stops moving. We were lucky to see it when we did. We were lucky to have Cassini. And we will never forget what Saturn taught us, that the universe is stranger, more beautiful, and more terrifying than we ever imagined. The hexagon will still be there long after we are gone. The storms will still rage, the moons will still orbit. And somewhere, deep inside Enceladus, in the warm, dark ocean beneath the ice, life may be looking up at the same rings, wondering if they are alone too. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.